Hey everybody, your July 16th edition of AM Sports Live is on the air. I am Andrew Goldstein, along with my co-host Matt Markow, and we've got a fantastic show for you. Matt, how you doing?
Pretty well. A lot of exciting events. Home Run Derby last night. Newsroom season premiere for you.
Yes, that is very
Saturday
exciting.
night.
I will not let you off the show until we discuss that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's happening right now.
Well, but first, I should mention that tomorrow you're getting your wisdom teeth out, so we may or may not end up having a show on Saturday. Usually we're going to aim to do this on Tuesday and Friday, but with the wisdom teeth, he's not going to be in any mood to do a radio show on Friday because logic just kind of dictates that when you're in excruciating pain, the last thing you'd want to do is talk to people.
Well, also the thing is with the wisdom teeth, it's not going to be obviously a regular occurrence. Maybe only like once every 2 episodes, 3 episodes.
Yeah, once every 3 episodes, Markow gets new wisdom teeth
Right,
out.
yeah, of course. Well, I don't know if I'll actually be in pain. More like just super high on some sort of anesthetic.
Or painkiller or something.
Painkiller,
Just,
yeah.
in general, not a state where you should be put in front of a microphone to say things on the internet that can be heard by anybody. So we're going to try to do a show on Saturday. If we can't do that, we'll go back to you at our regular time on Tuesday and hopefully be able to establish a regular schedule every Tuesday and Friday. It's just these extraordinary circumstances that's making us potentially push our show.
Although I saw
Saturday.
I saw This Is the End recently, and those guys were pretty funny high. So
Well, there you go. So maybe we'll give it a try.
maybe we'll give it a try.
I'll message Markow on Saturday and see if he feels like it.
Yeah. So this weekend went to the movies again. I know.
You're home away from home.
I hope you're sitting down. But I saw World War Z starring Brad Pitt, the new zombie movie.
All right.
And I'm gonna have to admit, when I first saw the trailer, it looked pretty bad. You know,
It just looked like another zombie movie.
and the name too is kind of like World War Z.
World War Zombie.
Yeah,
That's what they're saying.
World War Z. It sounds like, I know it was adapted from a book, but it just sounds stupid.
And also, the book was this really interesting social commentary, kind of using a zombie attack to criticize various governments, etc., etc. But you can't really do that with a movie. It just becomes a zombie movie.
No, not one with Brad Pitt growing his hair out like Tom Brady circa 2010. No. But yeah.
Oh, boy.
But actually, surprisingly, it's really a thrilling movie.
Wow.
One of the best movies I saw this year in theaters, and I would highly recommend it. And it's actually, it gives kind of a fresh take on the zombie movie genre.
Really?
So yeah, I would
So where
recommend
does this
that.
rank in your hierarchy of zombie movies? Better than 28 Days Later? Better than, what's that Will Smith one? I Am Legend?
I Am Legend, definitely better than I Am Legend. I haven't seen 28 Days Later.
I think that's one of the few notable movies that I've seen that you haven't.
Yeah, no, I hear great things about it.
Mm-hmm.
Zombieland is a great zombie movie, but not horror, more of a comedy.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've actually seen clips of it, but I haven't seen the whole movie.
Also,
but you didn't think I Am Legend was good?
I have this conversation with people all the time, which is Will Smith, a little bit overrated. Really not a lot of range. Not a lot of range.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. I Am Legend, it was substantially scarier than any zombie movie I've ever seen. Like, 28
Scarier than 28 Days Later?
Scarier than 28 Days Later actually wasn't that scary.
I'm a lightweight when it comes to scary movies.
Oh, me too. Like, I actually kind of got a little freaked out at Night of the Living Dead, and that was just the most non-believable zombie movie of all time.
Well, that's one of those classics, though.
It's classic, but it's great. Like, the zombie will go to eat somebody, you'll see them dip below the camera, the zombie will come back up carrying a turkey leg or something.
That's good stuff. Well,
I actually would have loved to be a zombie in that scene, just to go, cut, we need more turkey legs, send an intern out to Tanucci's or something to grab us like a number 4.
well, listen, After watching The Walking Dead, which is pretty much the worst a zombie related thing can get.
I know you really hate
Yeah,
that
no,
show.
anything's a step up from The Walking Dead.
Well, actually, I haven't been keeping up with how The Walking Dead's doing ratings-wise and critically. Is it taking as much of a hit among people who are watching it seriously as it is with you, who's now watching it ironically?
Well, every time I say to somebody that watches the show, this show stinks. I'm
They
watching
leap to
it.
defend it.
I'm watching it for unintentional comedy purposes. Of course, they're outraged. They're like, "Well, I never," like what people would say back in the old days. And it's just like they jump to defend it, and they use terrible defense, which is like, well, season 1 was great. You have to admit that. Season 2 was good. I said, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, but this season's garbage.
This past season, though, if you look at listen to this premise. The survivors hole up in a prison, right?
All right.
Which is already awesome. Super cool.
All right.
They clear it of zombies. Obviously, the zombies aren't going to be able to get into the prison.
Okay, that's actually probably the best place to be during a zombie
exactly.
outbreak.
It's
a prison.
Totally fresh and original.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find this town that's totally clear of zombies and full of survivors. It's like an actual town.
Right.
Run
like the town at the end of I Am Legend.
Right, but it's run by a guy that, while seemingly friendly,
Is a zombie.
no, not a zombie,
Damn it.
but he's actually he's a bad guy. He'll kill innocent people to steal their supplies for the town and stuff. And so eventually the season is building the showdown between the main group and that group. And if you listen to that premise, you're like, oh, okay, that has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you watch the show,
It's just I understand that it's very poorly written.
it's very poorly written, and it's just the dialogue is just so cheesy and
so canned.
so canned and so cliche at certain points. Like, there's the generic speeches that they give to rile up the crowd.
Uh-huh. That's like a prerequisite for every apocalypse movie ever made.
It's just and it got away from the killing zombies in more character based, and unfortunately when the show gets away from the action and more towards the drama, it doesn't really work.
But wait,
with that
do they force in a lot of pointless romances? Because I hate when shows do that.
There's not a lot of chicks on the show, so you can't. I mean, the ones that are on the show are pretty much taken, but.
I mean, not Taken Liam Neeson style,
No.
just regular Taken.
Although that is the plot for Taken 3, I believe.
Yes.
Don't tell anyone. The script is
Liam Neeson's grandmother gets taken,
Yes.
and they have to find her.
Zombies are involved somehow. I don't know, but
We're gonna get up to like Taken 9, and it'll be like Liam Neeson's third cousin, twice removed, has been taken.
yeah. Well, also, yeah. So the show, it's just there's not much forced romance, but there's a lot of forced moral dilemmas.
Oh,
which is
okay.
and it annoys me because in season 2, there was a guy, the leader of the main group that we're following, is supposed to be this moral guy,
Mhm.
and he's essentially against killing zombies as a whole because they were once people, and he doesn't know maybe they'll find a cure or something.
Mhm.
But these zombies pose a threat, right?
Right.
And so the other guy is some other guy he wants to kill him, and it's he killed the zombies, and it's a whole ordeal where it's what's right and what's wrong. It's but in that scenario, there's not really any rules. All the rules go out the window. You know what I mean?
I don't actually.
It's hard to explain.
What do you mean, the rules, how long the zombie can survive?
No. As in. Okay, so a small group of us there's a zombie apocalypse. A small group of us is on the lam, going from place to place looking for survivors and stuff. And it's not about, would you waste resources for something that ultimately isn't that important, or for example, in the show, a little girl gets lost from their group, and You know,
Oh, they spend resources to go find her or something?
they spend like 4 episodes straight trying to look for her, and after a certain point, it's like,
Oh, it's just so cheesy that it's
but
like
she's not coming back, and then of course there's a lot of argument like we need to find her, but it's like no, we need to move
they
on.
need
Like
to like keep being holed up in this
yeah,
prison.
there's no way she would still be alive. It's a lot of like that stuff where like would you risk the lives of
Oh,
the
okay.
group?
It's like more, like you said, it's more moral dilemma than it is
But it's
actual
it's not
act.
done well though because in that scenario you have to do what it takes. It's
And
kind
also, moral dilemmas are something that requires good writing.
it's kind of like it's every man for himself kind of, but then they're trying to make it like not I don't know. It's
Yeah,
it's
okay.
kind of a I don't know. It's a soup. It's like a stew with a bunch of actually I don't know where this analogy is going.
Yeah, it's a stew with a bunch of something.
With yeah, insert analogy that makes sense here. But
Okay, well, that's a very, very not good segue to the Home Run Derby, our next topic, because this is AM Sports Live and we actually discuss sports things here, not just zombie movies, although there'll be plenty of that.
although killing zombies could be a sport when the apocalypse hits.
That could be the only sport when the
That's
apocalypse
right.
hits.
That's right.
But the apocalypse did not hit. The Home Run Derby went off without a hitch, and it was actually pretty entertaining. What did you think of it?
Well, the problem I have with every home run derby is that eventually, as much as they try to spruce it up and do some special events and stuff in
Hmm.
between innings, it eventually just gets boring watching people hit home run after home run.
Well, here's the thing. I always watch the first round. I always find the first round entertaining. After that, I could take it or leave it because people like you remember how Josh Hamilton hit 28 home runs and
Sure.
Bobby Abreu hit all those home runs one year. That doesn't happen after the first round.
No,
So that's why I only watch the first round.
but also, but it's like after a while of just guys mashing home run after home run, there's nothing else to see, is there?
Not
That's
really,
about it.
because like to draw a basketball comparison, the reason why the dunk contest works is because there's so many different ways you can do a dunk. You can
Exactly.
involve props, people, you could go for like a simple tomahawk, you could go for a reverse. There's just so many different ways to do it, but yeah, a home run's just a home run. You can't hit one from your knees, you can't hit one while lying down or something. It's eventually just the same thing
Did
over
you
and
did
over.
you notice something last night where it was at Citi Field, the
Right.
event, home of the Mets,
Okay.
and when that field was opened, it was one of the hardest places to hit a home run.
Yeah, they
And
moved the fences in.
they moved the fences in, but still incredibly hard to hit a home run.
It was middle of the. I think out of all the ballparks
It
in
was
the
like
league,
18th, I believe.
yeah, it
Right?
was 18th. It used to be like 28th.
Right. But still, there was a lot of balls that just hung up there and got down on the warning track. And
Hmm.
I feel like if this was in, maybe the Phillies ballpark or Yankee Stadium or something, that
Or we're I'm actually in support of having it at Fenway again because that was a fantastic home run derby.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
Also Colorado. I think they had one at Coors Field recently. I'm not entirely sure on that, but
Yeah.
that would definitely make for a good home run
Yeah.
derby.
I just feel like the stadium wasn't conducive to really hitting home runs as well as other stadiums would could have been. I don't know. But also another thing is, and obviously this has been going on for a long time. Who are the kids in the outfield? I can never figure that
I
out.
was actually just gonna say that. I actually kind of want to be a kid in the outfield for that.
And there's always that one kid, or it seemed like there was always that one kid that was bigger than everyone else.
Yeah,
that seemed to
it's
catch every ball.
like you know how you always have one kid on your little league team. It'll be like a 12-year-old team, but he just seems 3 years older and 40 pounds heavier than everyone
Yeah,
else.
that kid was definitely like 21, and the kids were like 13. I don't wait. What? I don't understand what the kids are. They for some group or something? Boys and Girls Club America or
I
something?
I actually don't know this. I've long wondered about this, and for
Yeah.
some reason just never looked it up. But I kind of want to be one of those kids just to say, hey, I was on the field during a home run derby.
Well, they're always funny because aside from that one kid,
they're all extraordinarily unathletic.
Oh, they're all the most unathletic people on the planet.
Because you either have to be like the next LeBron James or Brian Scalabrine, to put it in a basketball term, to get picked for the outfield. They never put in your average guys out there.
No. Well, it's always like a lot of little kids, and you always feel like it could be dangerous at some point, even though like gloves, like these guys,
like they could run over each other or something like that.
Yeah, there's 30 kids going for the one ball in the outfield, and
I can't imagine nobody's gotten hurt.
And the ball's going what, 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour off the crack of the bat?
Yeah, something like that. Well, I mean, maybe initially off the crack of the bat. Obviously, it's going to slow down, but still, you got 20-some people in a very condensed space with one baseball. Somebody's going to run over another person. Somebody's going to get hit on the head with a baseball. Actually, why is this bad? This sounds hilarious. I want this to happen.
No, it's always funny because there's always going to be like a short hop, and somebody will dive for it and just completely miss it and just land on their face, and it's just hilarious.
But you're not allowed to laugh at, like, SportsCenter's not allowed to show it on their not top 10 because he's a kid or something.
I don't understand who those kids are. I need to know who those kids are.
Also, if you're... Okay, here's a debate. The parents of who signed their kids up for this, is that a good parenting decision or not a good parenting decision? Because it's good because it's like, oh, my kid loves baseball, he'll get to be out on the field, this is so awesome. But also not good because they're like, well, they're being watched by thousands and thousands of people. If they screw up, that's all anybody will talk about for the next week. They'll get trampled by the one athletic kid when he goes to make a diving catch.
That kid.
I actually want to see one of them rob a home run one day.
Oh yeah, or just put somebody like Torrey Hunter goes undercover, like puts on makeup, like
and kind of like the Kyrie Irving Uncle Drew thing.
Kyrie Irving Uncle Drew thing, and he just lays out, makes spectacular diving catches, robs home runs. Yeah, and then all the while Chris Berman is just losing it in the box. Yeah.
I always really enjoy Chris Berman announcing.
Chris Berman was on his game yesterday.
Back, gone! That's my best Chris Berman, ladies and gentlemen.
He was more blowhardy than ever yesterday.
Well, that's the thing. Like everything I watch on TV these days, I wasn't fully engaged in the home run derby. I was typing away on my laptop, looking up, typing away, so I didn't quite pay close enough attention to it, but...
He's such a blowhard, isn't he? He's such a blowhard.
I know that every time he announces something these days, everybody on the internet just loses their minds.
Oh, yeah.
Either the small minority that's intensely for Chris Berman or the large majority that just... every time he announces something, starts going into rage mode.
Yeah, well, Chris Berman... He's just so in love with himself. It's insane, and also especially because it was in New York at Citi Field and stuff. He had all these stories about the Polo Grounds and stuff, and his co-announcer was Nomar Garciaparra, former baseball player.
And Noah's like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, Nomar was just like, I have no idea what you're talking. He just totally just didn't saw, like, Chris Berman was going on like, oh, Polo Grounds, Willie Mays, whatever, and then
Noah's like, I remember that. I was
there. Home run! Just totally ignored. It was great. Well, the chemistry between them was
could not have been worse.
Could not have been worse. No.
Well, actually, I didn't pay attention to Nomar either. Is he a good announcer? Because I never would have thought that Nomar would be a person that you'd really want to have in the announcing booth.
Here's what you need to know about Nomar. Last year, he was announcing the Little League World Series.
Yes, I actually do remember that.
So...
And actually, I want to talk about the Little League World Series just for a little bit because it's always one of my unintentionally fun. It's one of the unintentionally funniest sporting events of the year because you have all of these media people inside ESPN, and sometimes they're former players like Nomar, sometimes they're B and C list announcers, and you could all tell when they signed on, they thought man, this is so great. I'm working for ESPN. I'm going to get to cover Monday Night Football. I'm going to Major League Baseball. And then they have to shoot these segments with all the little leaguers, and all of the media guys have to pretend like this is the assignment they were really gunning for all year. Then you have all of them trying to pretend like they know something that the rest of us don't about these kids. It's also like the kids in the outfield where you had the one kid on each team who's 20 pounds too heavy.
There's always that one kid, and he hits a home run every single time up, and it's like, I have no idea how you're supposed to stop him.
And then, like, when he hits a walk-off homer, all of his teammates swarm around him, and he just has this look on his face like, what did you expect? I'm much better than every other person here.
I always like the
Little League... getting called up by the Yankees next week.
I always like the Little League World Series because I like the stuff that's like favorite whatever, like favorite TV show,
They should start doing that for professional athletes.
Yeah, they actually should.
And actually, they used to do this during March Madness. They don't anymore. They used to put what each guy's major was on the screen. Sometimes they actually even put GPAs, too.
That could actually be really funny. That could be really funny. I'd like to see what
Actually, there was a report about Greg Oden when he was still at Ohio State. You know how they have those designated classes for athletes to take? Because if they took real classes, they'd fail everything.
Of course.
There was this one class that Greg Oden was taking, the announcers mentioned. It was music history, and Bill Simmons is doing a running diary on it this year. Howe said, and Simmons was like, man, why isn't Odin playing well? He's kind of stunk today. And House is like, well, he's got that comparative essay on the Beatles versus Van Halen due tonight.
Music history,
Music history. I think UNC has a naval weapons class.
Wow, sign me up. Why?
Why doesn't Princeton High School offer a naval weapons class?
All I need to do is grow another 2 feet and become incredibly good at basketball, and then I could take those classes. No problem.
2 feet, good at basketball. Purchase some tickets to Germany. Maybe get some HGH going.
Get the Kobe treatment. Yeah.
There you go. Well, back to the home run derby because we haven't finished talking about that.
Yeah. Little League World Series is coming up soon, though, right?
Yeah, it's at the end of August. I always know because it's the time when I'm most depressed because I realize I'm gonna have to go back to school in a week. That's usually when the Little League World
I feel
Series
bad for the kids because a lot of the times the school already started when they're in the Little League World Series.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that nobody in the history of anything has missed the first day of school.
Well, the kids that...
besides the Little League World Series, like, nobody I've ever known got sick on the first day of school. Nobody got back late from a vacation, had anything... It just doesn't happen on the first day of school. Just every single person in every single one of my classes for like a decade now has always been there on the first day.
Although really, you could probably skip the first week of school and be fine.
Oh, you absolutely
we don't do anything in the first week.
It's just okay. No, don't talk when I'm talking.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff.
Don't bring a knife into class. It's just everything you should already know.
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. But also,
if you don't do your homework, it'll count as a 0.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of teachers love to lie, where it's like it's zero tolerance policy.
No, but that's enforceable through like the first month. For like the first month or two, they try to do that. Then by December, it's out the window.
Yeah, it's sad when you find yourself checking out, but you look up and your teacher's also checked out at the same. It's like as the year progresses, the more you check out, the more your teacher checks out.
No, but the worst is when the teacher checks in even more just to prove that they're not checking out.
Yeah, but that rarely happens.
That rarely happens, but it never fails to be aggravating when it does.
Usually the teachers are almost as lazy as the students.
Yeah.
Which is why they're teachers. But yes.
Again, some of the opinions on this show are entirely Mark Howe's, not mine. I respect the hard work our teachers do. But let's get back to the Derby.
I really wanted David Wright to be successful.
I really didn't have anybody I was rooting for. I guess I was rooting for Fielder just because I wanted to see some mammoth home runs.
I thought Chris Davis was going to be at least in the second. Well, he made it to the second round.
Yeah, he made it to the second round.
Yeah,
he was eliminated.
I thought he was going to be a little bit better, but.
Well, it just really depends on who got hot that night. There's really nothing you can do to predict a home run derby. It's just some people who you wouldn't think are good at it are, some people who you would think are good at it aren't, and it's just whoever is most in the zone that night.
The thing about David Wright, though, I don't like the Mets at all.
Right.
Most New York teams, actually all New York teams, I don't like. But
I used to really like the Yankees, but I don't really follow baseball that much anymore, so I can't keep claiming the Yankees, being on the Yankees bandwagon.
what was it that we were discussing recently where you didn't know Alex Rodriguez's number or something?
Yeah,
you didn't even know Derek Jeter's number, did you?
Number 2. I knew that.
No,
one.
yeah, you knew that. Okay.
It was A-Rod's number, but
you
that's
didn't know
the thing.
Mo Rivera's number either.
I don't really, because that's the thing. I don't know athletes' numbers.
Okay, but Mo Rivera, his number is he's the last person that's allowed to have 42.
Oh, right. I forgot because I keep forgetting that Mo Rivera and Jackie Robinson had
That's
the same
iconic.
number.
But yeah, I don't know how they're gonna retire.
Because I know Ray asked me what's Mo Rivera's number. I don't know. What's Jackie Robinson's number? 42. Okay, so I kind of knew that one.
Is
I
it just
have
because
to
the
that
crappy
one.
movie came out this year? Or?
No, I did know that Jackie Robinson's number was 42.
Okay.
Also, was 42 actually that bad? I didn't see it.
The reviews were good, but I don't know if that had something of a political thing to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know that the Metacritic user rating at first wasn't so great.
Yeah, you'd have to see it for yourself to judge, but
Mhm.
whatever. But yeah, David Wright.
And like you said, they're not going to give a Jackie Robinson movie a bad review.
No. It could have been, super low budget and just totally just.
It could have been made by Tyler Perry.
Yeah, it could have
And
been
they would
Tyler
not-
Perry, all black cast. Actually, how would that work?
That would not work at all.
No, there wouldn't be much segregation.
And
going
also,
on in the
how
baseball
have we
field.
gotten from the Derby to this so quickly? We keep getting sidetracked.
Well, yeah. Anyway, David Wright. I don't like the Mets. I really am not a David Wright fan either. But it's just that in your home ballpark like that, you could kind of like you could see how much it meant to the New Yorkers that he was in
Yeah.
the Derby, and they really were cheering for him. And I felt bad.
And it's also doubly offensive to the hosting stadium. I know this isn't an issue in New York, but with Kansas City last year when Cano didn't pick Billy Butler to be on the home run derby team,
yeah.
Kansas City crowd just took it really personally, and I don't think they're wrong for that. But they take it personally when their hero succeeds or doesn't succeed in the derby, but I find almost doubly more so when they don't get picked.
But think about it for Wright, though, because you're in the home run derby. There's already a lot of pressure on you.
Uh-huh.
Well, these guys all look like they're taking it, just
Yeah.
it's for fun and whatever. But really inside they're thinking,
I gotta win.
I gotta win, or at least I don't want to be the guy that ends up not hitting a single home run.
Yes.
Because that's just embarrassing. Or like swinging and missing at a pitch.
I think
getting out that way.
1 year.
That's happened before.
Yeah, it has.
I think Toppy, David Ortiz did that 1 year.
There was this one guy who struck out a ton, but he was a big home run hitter back in '05, and I can't
Adam
remember.
Dunn, maybe.
I don't remember a home run derby that Dunn was in, but I'm kind of fuzzy on my baseball history. It was. If you said his name, I'd know him. I'll come back to it in the next show.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember 1 or 2 times where I just saw a guy whiff.
Yeah,
But-
which is always the worst because there's nothing more embarrassing in the home run derby than that, is there?
No, but that's the thing. You have all these guys who are, not all of them, but some of them are thinking, I have to hit home runs instead of, all right, I'm just going to do what I usually do. If it goes out, great. If not, it doesn't
You can mess up
really
your swing
matter.
for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but the guys who swing and miss are like, I have to swing for the fences every single time. I have to just put everything into it. And if you start thinking like that, you're just going to start hitting ground balls or striking out because
Yeah.
you can obviously see when they're doing that. I actually think Sammy Sosa swung and missed once or twice.
Yeah, well, Sammy Sosa, yeah. But the David Wright thing, yeah, again, I'm not a New York fan, not a David Wright fan, but the pressure he must have felt to at least
Not embarrass himself.
not embarrass
There's not
himself.
much pressure to win, but there is pressure to not be that guy.
Yeah, he at least I think he had about 5 or something,
Yeah.
but I mean that wasn't enough to advance or anything. I don't
Okay.
know. I felt kind of bad for him, but
But Cespedes, who would have thought? It,
yeah, the only reason I know who that is because I play a lot of MLB The Show on the
mhm.
PlayStation, and um, I play as the A's sometimes. So that's the only reason why. Other than that, I would have no idea who. And of course, when he won, not the best option to win because of course they have to do the post game interview, and
Yeah,
it's
you
not a
you
lick
had
of
to do it through a
English.
translator.
Yeah,
Um,
so
but
that was a little awkward actually.
also, did you see that Bryce Harper's dad actually hit him with a pitch?
Yeah,
Okay, more embarrassing, swinging and missing on a pitch as a hitter or hitting the person you're pitching to during a home run derby.
swinging and missing
Okay.
because think about it. Those pitchers they probably throw about 150 pitches by the end of the night. Like their armor
And
is
plus they're not major league
they're not
pitchers.
major league pitchers.
Also,
Yeah,
sometimes the hitter talks to him beforehand and said, "Now listen, I want it
yeah,
close and inside. That's where I hit best." And it's not really that much of a leap from close and inside to just
yeah.
bouncing one off the knee. But I would actually like to see during the home run derby one year a guy get hit and start charging the mound against his pitching coach or his dad or something. I'm pretty sure that would be just one of the 5 wackiest sports stories of the year.
Well, they would never show it because even because this was on tape delay, and every time Bryce Harper would hit the ball and he didn't like it, he would yell out something and it had to be bleeped, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But um, I like I don't know if they've done this in past years, the projected distance they did,
Yes.
where it's like the ball actually traveled 400 feet, but
But if the seats weren't in the way.
yeah, I like that a lot. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how they calculate that, but because if you think about it, the ball really would go much farther if
Yeah.
the seats weren't. I
I
like
would
that a lot.
I would actually be in favor of just one time, maybe in the off season or something, because I know they couldn't do this for an All-Star game. Just having a home run derby on a little league field with nothing beyond the outfield seats, just grass.
Yeah,
So they could actually see how far they'd hit them.
yeah, that would be
Because
cool.
do you think somebody could hit like 540 with that? So maybe Prince Fielder could.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, it would be tough. Another thing, the AL versus NL,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like the American League. They were there was the 4 American League players were competing against the 4 National League players.
It's dumb.
Who cares?
I, like, do you honestly think that Robbie Cano is gonna go up to David Wright and say, "See, I knew we were better than you guys.
Exactly.
How you like me now, National League?"
Although Bourbon was saying he went up Cano went up to Cepedes and he was like, "All right, just hit one more and then we'll win and then whatever, you know." But it's like who cares? You know what I mean? Like okay, so you win a home run derby against the other league. That's hardly the All-Star game. First off, the All-Star game doesn't really matter anyway. Just it matters because
The home field advantage, which is kind of dumb
it's
because
dumb. It's just
it invalidates an
yeah,
entire season of work for the team that got a better record. But
yeah.
I I'm trying to think about how they could make this matter. They couldn't do cash bonuses because no amount of cash you could give these players would actually
Well,
make a difference.
Cepedes won a car.
No amount of cars you could give these players matters either because if he wanted another car, he certainly has the financial means to just go out and buy one. But
Yeah, I know.
how about this? And this is just kind of off the cuff. There are variations of this idea that I think could work. On national TV, after the home run derby, the losing team has to sit in a row of dunk tanks, and the fans can come down and just throw baseballs at you know how they have at the carnival the dunk tank.
Yeah.
They could just like throw baseballs at the little target, and they have to spend an hour each in the dunk tank.
Why don't we just put the kids in the outfield on the dunk tank? That'll be better, wouldn't it? And then just have the players just line up and yeah,
Well,
that would be better.
yeah, but you know something like that because it doesn't actually matter for playoff purposes, it's not meaningless because players don't want to be humiliated on national TV for an hour. But just, like, can you imagine on the MLB network? And next up, since the AL won, watch David Wright step into the dunk tank for 30 minutes. Like, you wouldn't watch that?
Yeah. I think we can think of more devious things than a
Oh,
dunk
I
tank.
I absolutely can. That was just kind of off the top of my head.
Right.
In fact, for all of our viewers out there, and this is actually a good time to plug both our Gmail and Twitter accounts, if any of you have some better ideas for what should happen to the losing team of both the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game, you can email us at amsportslive@gmail.com or tweet to us at amsportslive1 on Twitter. And we're going to be coming out with a Facebook page soon as we get a logo up. We have one of our friends working on it. So...
Is Logo a new rapper that's...
Actually, that would be a great rapper name. Better DJ name, DJ Logo.
DJ Logo? Yeah, you could do a good, I wouldn't listen to any of his music, but I'm sure there's a market.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was way too long, I felt like, the Home Run Derby.
Because, actually, they listed it was kind of funny. They listed it as 2 hours on ESPN. They were just getting through the first round after 2 hours.
Insane.
Actually, as you may or may not know, the ESPYs are coming up.
Hosted by John Hamm.
I was gonna bring that up. It's one of your favorites, John Hamm.
I might actually have to DVR it only because John Hamm is hosting.
Because obviously I don't care about the ESPYs or the awards.
They don't mean anything. Yet another sports-related thing that doesn't mean anything. Yes.
The ESPYs, but it's on. I get the need for their existence because there's one day every year where there's no sports in terms of the 4 major leagues, like baseball, football, basketball, hockey. So I guess
you don't count crocheting as a sport.
I don't count golf because golf's not one of four major sports.
You don't count something that an out of shape 65-year-old can do.
If John Daly can play it, then... Well, actually, I shouldn't crap on golf too bad, because I've tried it, and I'm pretty terrible at it, so it actually does require a pretty good amount of skill, but it's not a major sport.
Yeah, so does darts. Darts require skill, too.
Okay, well, darts is not a sport, that's an activity.
Poker, the World Series of Poker is a sport, according to ESPN.
No, poker, once again... It's a cool activity, it's really fun, but it's not a sport.
What's next? Competitive Connect 4?
Blackjack. Blackjack is now a sport. We get to drop in on some hungover 30-year-olds in Vegas.
Actually, that would be great. Celebrity Blackjack, we could see.
Blackjack.
Obviously, no real ones would... It would be only D-list people, but...
The same people that appear on Celebrity Apprentice, Celebrity Wife Swap, all of those people are the same people who would be appearing on Celebrity Blackjack.
I think it would be great to see
Andrew Dice Clay.
Dennis Rodman and Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah.
Celebrity Craps.
Yeah, so I feel like the reason it was too long was there was too many commercials, and I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a lot of Under Armour and Nike commercials where it was like a lot of like guys in pads and stuff, young teenagers, going out, practicing, working out, and the Under Armour thing was like one more. That was the logo, like one more drill, one more rep and stuff.
One more?
And the Nike thing is always just do it. So it's always like this aggressive marketing campaign that's always yelling at me to do one more or just do something.
One more cookie?
Yeah, no, I was sitting on my couch.
Like one more helping of pie?
Yeah, I was sitting on the couch, just totally eating and just, laying out, and this was just making me feel awful.
No, I just kind of adapted to my own purposes. Just do it? Okay, I was kind of debating getting another helping of cobbler, but Nike just told me to do it, so, there you go.
Yeah, it was... I hate those aggressive commercials. Like, it's just... It makes me feel bad. But, yeah...
the Gatorade commercials are another one.
The Gatorade commercials, yeah. It's a lot... Yeah, it's a lot of weird cinematic, like
quick
cuts, marching band, guys just being totally driven into the football turf. Just
like the beads of like the camera zoomed in close enough where you can see like the beads of sweat dripping down their face.
Yeah, it's like really.
It's like, no, I drink Gatorade at 2 in the morning when I'm playing video games and have my sweatpants on.
Yeah, do we really need to see RG3 running through sleds and stuff?
Like,
Well,
actually,
Gatorade.
not even RG3. Do we really need to see a close-up of anybody that close? Because I'm
Sometimes
pretty
it's
sure
just-
there is no human alive who looks good with the super close-up where you can see the sweat beads.
Sometimes it's just random, like, high school kids. A lot of the time, it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But did you stick around after the home run derby for the celebrity softball game?
I don't lower myself to that.
I did, only for the first inning.
Oh, wait, who was playing in the celebrity softball game?
Oh, it was an embarrassing collection of celebrities, quotation marks. Boomer Esiason,
Okay.
Kevin James, the guy from the comedian Kevin James.
Wait, who are the managers? Because I know one year Mike and Mike were the managers.
Managers, Dave Franco, who used to be a closer for the Mets back in the 90s, and Bernie Williams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bernie Williams. There was a lot of Ricky Henderson, I think, was in the game.
But you know, actually,
Frank Thomas.
you know what really would have made me watch it? Since it's in New York, if they got Mike and Dog back to manage the opposite teams.
Oh, hold on. They got a great radio host to replace them in the game. Craig Carton from Boomer and Carton in the morning.
He used to be on 101.5.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, it's Carton and Rossi, the Jersey guys.
I mean, what was Big Joe Henry from New Jersey 101.5 not available? Like,
where's Michelle Jerson?
I mean, come on. Craig Carton? He's a celebrity? He's a celebrity. Really?
Craig Carton.
That's
Oh,
absurd. Boy. It was just the amount of celebrities, quotation marks, is just it was an embarrassing display. It was awful. But yeah, you should have watched it just for unintentional comedy purposes.
It actually would have made me too sad because
yeah,
I would have.
Williams looks awful now, and he used to be. What, did he retire only like 6 years ago?
7, 8, something like that.
Yeah, and he used to be like pretty good player. I don't know what happened to him. Middle age just hit him like a train. But yeah.
Well, but it would have saddened me to see like Frank Thomas in the game because I'm thinking, wait, you hit 6. Wait, is he part of the 600 club or?
He was darn. He was 500. He was up.
500 home runs, let's say. It's
High
like,
500.
Frank, buddy, you're a Hall of Famer. You hit 500 home runs. Why do you feel the need to do this? Don't lower yourself.
He hit a home run first time up, I believe. But of course, everyone decent did. Bernie Williams did. Everyone.
Like, what was the home run barrier?
Oh,
like,
they moved it way in. It was like 230.
Second base.
It was like 230, I believe. Oh, George Lopez was in the game too.
Oh dear God!
It was like the bottom.
You'll see
bottom of the barrel.
I think you'll see Jay Leno in there in about 3 years.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to use a bat. He can just use his chin. That'll work.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
well,
so that was fun. It was a fun night. Just a lot of just kicking back and just watching people embarrass themselves.
So, ESPYs, you're not watching it live, right? Are you just gonna DVR it?
Yeah, I don't want to. It's just not worth. I'm just gonna fast forward through everything except for the John Hamm.
The monologue.
Yeah,
because I really hated Rob Riggle last year.
I don't know who that is.
He was unconscionably bad.
Rob Riggle?
Yeah.
Great name for an adult film star.
There's the Markow humor.
Yeah.
Seth Meyers, who is okay.
Didn't Will Ferrell do it one year?
I think he did. I'm not sure. I actually think Seth Meyers might have done it 2 years in a row.
Oh, well, I don't.
One year they had. Actually, this is the column that got Bill Simmons hired at ESPN. Did a running diary of the ESPYs, I think, in '01, and they had Joe Theismann trying to do comedy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Joe Theismann now doing Viagra commercials. Those are actually great for that's probably funnier than anything that he said at the ESPYs in 2001. Yeah.
But I know that they would never do this since he's on TNT, but Wouldn't Charles Barkley be a fantastic ESPYs host?
He'd be a fantastic host of anything.
Yeah, I would.
Bar
Any
mitzvahs.
on air job, any speaking job, play by play, ESPYs host, best man speech at a wedding,
Yeah, bar mitzvahs, birthdays.
eulogy, like even a eulogy, he'd be perfect.
Sure, exactly.
Just anything at all.
You know, they say the funniest jokes are always told at funerals because everyone is so sad that anytime someone says even something that is remotely funny, you know, everybody just has to go explode with laughter because of the mood. Yeah,
And also just because of the sheer inappropriateness at the time of the joke.
yeah, yeah.
This actually brings to mind that story from Adam Carolla's book. It was where some member of Jimmy Kimmel's family died, and as they were walking out of the funeral parlor, they saw a rainbow,
Yeah.
and they're all talking about how nice that is, how Jimmy's...
It's a sign.
How Jimmy's family members looking over them, and Adam kind of piped up, I know you're all taking this as some kind of divine moment, and it really is nice, but I think they're filming a Skittles commercial down the street. And everybody just cracked up laughing.
Yeah, it's classic because it's just not the appropriate time, so it's of course hilarious. But
Right.
yeah, so
Except for Death at a Funeral, which no part of it was ever remotely funny.
oh, was that the one? Was that the one with the all black cast?
I actually think it was a Tyler Perry thing.
Oh, that was a Tyler Perry thing.
I watched like 20 minutes of it. I'm like, wait, what is this movie? What is this movie supposed to be?
I saw the midget from Game of Thrones, and I was like, I'm out. I'm out. Sorry.
Oh, actually, this is a really nice segue because we're gonna close our show with another HBO flick, and not a flick, a show. I know that this show has not been. It's not been poorly received critically. It's been mixed. I know it's popularly. I'm not sure how it's doing. It says it has 2 million watchers on average, but I don't know how good or bad that is depending upon HBO's other rotation. But whatever. It's a controversial show. Mark Howe happens to not like it. I love it. The Newsroom. It premiered on Sunday.
Well, it's not that I don't like it's not that I don't like the Newsroom. It's just that I haven't really seen a lot of it, but the things that I have seen from it have been incredibly pretentious and preachy. And
here's the thing. And before we get into the Newsroom discussion, we don't do politics on this show. We try to stay as far out of it as possible because, you know, we just don't like discussing it. It's too serious for us, and we don't want to start flame wars in the comments section if we ever get a substantial amount of listeners. But it's kind of hard to discuss the Newsroom without mentioning that it's really, really liberally biased. Although maybe not so much this season, but in the first season it definitely was.
Sure.
But actually it's making a concerted effort to be less smug this season, which I actually kind of appreciate because last season, it was all about how these guys were on a crusade to fix television, and everything they did was seen as noble and all that. The main plot line this season...
It's very meta, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorkin was probably trying to do that through the Newsroom. Well, they were trying to do it through their... Very meta. It's you know...
Well, actually, the main plot line of this season is them really, really screwing up a story badly badly enough that their show could get taken off the air. So at least Sorkin showing that these aren't perfect people.
That's not the media I know, by the way.
Well, the media... Well, actually that isn't, because with the media, you know, the shows stay on the air.
Oh, yeah. But, no, I'm talking about the screwing up really badly.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah. Facts always wrong, yes.
Yeah, but, actually... If you had any hopes about this season being less pretentious, it was kind of ruined during... Like, you know how shows have different kinds of trailers? Like, they have a clip trailer.
Okay.
They have a thematic trailer.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Sure.
Well, the thematic trailer was the characters wandering through the desert.
Oh, no.
And, actually, an article I read was, it said, by the way, you know who else wandered through the desert? This guy, and they included a link to a picture of Jesus, and then and then the next sentence was, "Yep, there's the Sorkin we all know and love."
Was that
and
supposed to be
then
the comparison,
it's
or was it
not.
just like
I feel like it was unintentional, but it just works so well.
or it's just
With
that
what?
they're all lost and they're
No,
or
but
something stupid
actually,
like
like
that?
the end of the trailer was them all standing together, and the catchphrase is "Together they stand alone," and it's like, yes, there's the pretentiousness.
God.
I was waiting for it, and there it
I
is.
need to go vomit. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
So what would you give the grade? What's your grade for the first episode?
Well, here's the thing. The first episode.
Try to do it. Try to do it objectively.
No, for
not your
but here's the
not
thing.
from a fanboy perspective.
For critically, where it had been getting like 5s and 6s out of 10, I would say that critically it's a 7 out of 10.
For you, it's an 11.
No, for me, whereas they were getting 9s and 8s, I would actually say it's about the same, a 7, because
Look at you.
because they definitely toned way down the attitude that they were perfect and all that. They toned the politics of it way down, and they did that for some episodes last season. So this was more focused on the relationship between characters and the overarching story, which is the lawsuit against them, that they screwed up the story really badly and it's libel and all that. So there's not as much of the Sorkin preachiness, but along with the Sorkin preachiness comes the funny dialogue, which no matter what the show's political slant, I'll always defend Aaron Sorkin's dialogue as being really well written.
Listen, he's done some great stuff.
A Few Good Men was unbelievable.
Few Good Men, Social Network, one of the great movies.
Actually,
of the
I
past decade.
really want to see that. I've been looking for it on the movie channels, and I haven't.
You know,
come
he
across
did
it
The
yet.
West Wing, but unfortunately, he's also done some bad stuff. So.
Studio 60 on Sunset Strip was pretty poorly received.
Yeah, I think what he needs is a kind of either a director or a producer to kind of like filter his material and kind of concentrate it into something that's
because
less preachy and yeah.
that's the thing. I've actually seen this in a bunch of reviews, so this isn't an original viewpoint, but there's bad Sorkin, the preachy, smug, intellectual type, and then there's the good Sorkin that's just this really fast-paced, really witty, sarcastic. You're like, wow, this is really riveting. I just want to see what they say next, not even what they do next.
Opposite of the home run derby is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and you're actually kind of really paying attention. It really makes you think.
Sure.
But like good Sorkin makes you think. Bad Sorkin just says, you don't need to think, I've done it all for you and I'm right. But the thing is,
him and Chris Berman should get together. They'd love each other, I'm sure.
The thing is, you can't get good Sorkin without bad Sorkin and vice versa. It's kind of like the whole yin-yang thing. So when he toned down the...
Is that a rapper? That has to be a rapper. That's definitely a rapper.
Yeah, yeah.
Logo and Yin Yang together on tour. They're coming to New Jersey.
No, Logo, Feet, Yin Yang.
Oh, Logo, Feet, Yin Yang, okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When he tones down the smug, arrogant Sorkin, he also tones down the funny Sorkin. Because part of I think that Sorkin's definitely self-aware at this point, and he kind of includes over-the-top bad Sorkin in his shows. Like, there was a snippet of an episode last season where the anchor, Will McAvoy, who's played by Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber, is reading, like, some negative comments on his website, and then he starts ranting about how he's going to fix the internet by changing the commenting rules on his website.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the other characters are just kind of looking at him like, oh, okay, if you say so. And that at least shows that Sorkin, while he's not perfect, is at least self-aware, because he knows that the audience is doing that too. And he knows that he can definitely be a blowhard. So I like how he kind of inserts moments like that, where he's taking it to such a ridiculous degree that it kind of flips back to good Sorkin.
Yeah.
But overall, I really like this season. Oh, also one other thing that I really like about the Newsroom.
Okay.
Sorkin's a huge sports fan, specifically football and baseball. So sometimes in his episodes, he kind of just kind of forces in sports references that only some people would get. And whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. Like, specifically, huge New York Jets fan, Aaron Sorkin.
Oh,
So he,
God.
there's actually an episode that involved a brief scene with Will McAvoy, the anchor, taking out on a date the head of the Jets cheerleading squad,
Mm-hmm.
and he and the producer Mackenzie McHale, played by Emily Mortimer, was talking to her beforehand, and is she's like, "Oh, what do you do for the Jets?" And she's like, "I'm the head of the flight crew." And she's like, "Oh, you're a pilot?" She's like, "No, that's the cheerleading squad." Um, and he just drops these sports references
Well,
in like this, and it's like, oh, you know what? That makes it a lot more likable for me.
you knew things would go bad when Will McAvoy asked her to recreate the butt fumble in the bedroom. That was bad.
shit.
That was bad.
Well, not yet. They're gonna set you up for that probably by like episode 5 of this season.
Yeah, soon you'll see the Rex Ryan foot
Mm.
fetish thing in there.
Don't even mention that on this air. I'm still grieving. Actually, out of everything, like out of all the controversy with Rex Ryan, you know, the Super Bowl predictions, the thing with the coach tripping up the Dolphins player on the sideline, he addressed it all in his autobiography, like, you know, in which I had to give him credit for because he didn't shy away from anything. He explained what was going on and blah, blah, blah. The foot fetish thing was the one thing that he just didn't talk about. Like, at the time when it happened, he said, he wrote in the timeline, "This is when the story came out about me and my wife. All I can say is that we've had a great marriage and I'm very happy with her." So it was, I can't imagine that the foot fetish video was the only thing he chose not to address.
Didn't he? Didn't he kind of deny his involvement in it?
Well, if that were true, that would mean his wife shot the foot fetish
I
video
know.
with someone else, and that's
Exactly.
worse.
No,
Just
that's
own it.
much worse. Just own up to it. How weird would it? Yeah, that would be. I don't know.
Well, actually, I was actually going into the dentist the other day, and she's a football fan, so we were talking about it, and
I
but-
thought you were gonna say she's a foot fan. That's what it
this,
sounded
this
like. That's where it
podcast
was
has
going.
gone, or this radio show has gone dramatically off the rails.
No, that's where it was going. That's what you sounded.
That's where you were taking it.
Oh, that's where
I'm not
okay.
taking ownership for that, but she said, yeah, I didn't get why they didn't fire Rex, and which is a legitimate question, but I told her I have a lot of friends that are fans of different teams. You know, I have you, a Patriots friend. I have a friend who's a fan of the Eagles, a fan of the Packers, fan of the Falcons, just a bunch of different teams.
A lot of Giants fans.
A lot of Giants fans, and I was actually kind of curious about this, so I thought, all right, let's see how many of them would trade their coach for Rex, straight up. So I approached Ray, our Eagles fan friend, and somebody who we'll eventually have on this show if he wants to do it. So I said, hey Ray, would you trade Andy Reid for Rex straight up? And he's like, yes, in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
So I went to my Chargers fan friend and said, hey, if the Jets just offered the Chargers, hey, we'll trade you Rex for Norv Turner straight up, would you do it? Yes.
Packers, Mike McCarthy.
No,
No question.
well, Liam, our Packers fan friend, wanted to stick with McCarthy just because of the success the Packers have had.
McCarthy's an awful coach. He's an awful coach.
He's
I'm
an
sorry.
awful coach, but by the
Great
same
offensive coordinator, awful head coach.
by the same time, you can't really want to fire a head coach when he's been having success, even if the success has little to do with him.
The success is in spite of him.
Well, actually, one of my friends, Alex Kaufman, bless his soul, he's a Browns fan. I wasn't aware they still existed, but I said, hey, Ryan for Shermer, would you do it? And he's like, yes, absolutely. So, if you were to line up a fan of all 32 teams and have at least 7 or 8 of them say, yeah, we'll trade you your head coach for ours, then that head coach shouldn't be fired, because by firing a head coach, you're betting that you're going to find someone better. And that's not how it works
I
out.
would say there's maybe only about maybe 8 to 10 coaches that you wouldn't trade for Rex. Maybe even less than that.
Well,
He might be even in the top 10.
Well, I feel like Rex, on offense, because of Mike Tannenbaum making a bunch of horrible moves, he was just dealt a really, really poor hand.
Who is the offensive coordinator? Sperano?
It was, well, before Sperano, it was Brian Schottenheimer, who I just
my
despise.
God. Yeah.
Every single Jets fan hated Here's a Brian Schottenheimer. Here's what he would do. So first and 10, I formation, 2 wide receivers, play action. Sanchez throws it deep, obviously incomplete.
Okay.
Second down, run play with Sean Green, gains 7 yards. 3rd and 3, play action. Mark Sanchez, throw it deep, incomplete. There you go. That's your typical shoddy.
Playing to the strengths of the team.
I remember I was at a Jets game in 2010. They lost to the Packers 9-0, and it got so bad that in just the second quarter, whenever the Jets got the ball, the fan behind me would instantly stand up and yell, "Punt!"
Yeah, you might as well. That might as well at that point. But
and
yeah.
actually, this is probably an argument that's better saved for a later podcast or later radio show. Gotta get in the habit of saying radio show instead of podcast, but I actually think Sanchez should start this year. Because there's no point in throwing Geno Smith in a bad situation where he's just going to get beaten up when Sanchez can just do it.
Sanchez is getting paid, right? So
yeah, so you might as well just kind of throw him out there as your tackling dummy and then start with Geno when he has some decent people.
Yeah. I mean, this year, it clearly is just a rebuilding year anyway. So
you want to just bottom out this year.
Yeah.
If I don't want to go 0-16 because that's just an embarrassment you don't get over, but I'd actually be fine if they went 1-15 and were able to pick up Jadeveon Clowney.
Actually, the Lions kind of got over it.
Well, I don't think so. The Lions are probably in the worst cap situation out of... I'm not going to say the worst cap situation, but like bottom 5 worst cap situations out of anyone in the league.
I'm going to go bold right now. Lions make the playoffs this year.
I could see it, but...
That wasn't the reaction I was looking for. I was looking for more of a, whoa!
Okay, do you want bold?
Let's
okay.
Let's do this again. I'm gonna make a really bold prediction, and I want you to sit down. I'm on the edge of my seat. Yeah, no, I want you to sit down.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I want you to, relax. Lions make the playoffs this year. Yeah.
Oh my God.
For those of you at home, Andrew just fell out of his chair and is now on the floor hyperventilating.
That is not at all true. But I'm gonna see that bold prediction and raise you one, and I'm actually gonna defend this on a later episode of the show as a cheap tactic for anybody listening for the first time to feel obligated to tune in again.
Because otherwise, why would you?
Your AFC North champions, Cleveland Browns.
No, we're not buffering. That's just me shocked.
And I will defend that later. I will actually. This explained in my first episode of NFL Goal Line with Think Rice. If you want to check that out, but if you don't, once we get a couple more weeks into the show, once this season approaches, once we start talking football, it'll still be my prediction, and I will defend it.
Really, the Browns?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, we've gone over an hour. It's about time to wrap the show up.
Yeah.
So
their luck's got to change sometime, I guess.
Right. Well, for Matt Markow, I'm Andrew Goldstein. If you'd like to email us any questions, email us at amsportslive@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at amsports1. And in the future, we'll be adding a Facebook page, live guests, all of that good stuff, as soon as I teach myself how to use the interface of Spreaker.com. But, Matt, anything else to say before we log on off?
Yeah, we got John Hamm coming up next week as a guest, followed by Pat Shermer, head coach of the okay, no, we don't. Nah.
But in a year or two, when this has maybe...
Yeah, when Ham's off of Mad Men,
he's got a lot of free time, man.
That's right.
He's just going to say, hey, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to hit the teenage sports talk show circuit.
That would be cool.
Well... Anyways, see you later, guys, and hopefully we'll see you back here Saturday. If not, we'll probably see you back here on Tuesday.
I'm off to my job now to catch balls in the home run derby in the outfield, so we better wrap it up.
You got to get that application in.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So long. For Matt Markow, I'm Andrew Goldstein. AM Sports Live is now off the air.